Hey there YouTube, today we're going to be making a glass palette. The tools that you'll need today are white, black, burnt umber, and also you'll need a foam brush. It doesn't matter what brush you use. I choose the foam brush because I don't want to leave brush strokes, but it doesn't really matter because it's on glass. As long as you cover the whole thing, brush strokes won't really be a problem. Also, this is optional, a palette knife. You don't need to use a palette knife, but I do recommend a palette knife. And also we'll need tape. Also, user discretion. If there's any children watching, please ask your parents, have your parents watch the video and follow along with me, because what we're making today can cut your little hands and fingers, and we don't want that. So, this is glass. You could go to a art store and buy glass, but we're going to be making a DIY palette because this will save you a lot more money. This is just a frame I got from Walmart to frame up some of my other art. This guy right here just got finished varnishing. I had brush strokes all through it, and I finally got rid of the brush strokes, and right at the end, I got a hair in it. But what are you going to do? It's not even noticeable. You can't even see it on the camera. I couldn't see it on the wall in the right lighting. However, in the wrong lighting, it's obvious. But what you gonna do? I don't live in a dust-free environment. I don't know if anyone does, and if anyone's out there who can help me. I have a lot of paintings that I would like to varnish. I don't want to do them myself. After this, I'm done. I love painting. I don't like varnishing. It is so frustrating. I don't know how many other artists out there have that problem, but that's the bane of my existence at this point. I hate varnishing. So anyway, today we're going to be making a glass palette. First, we're going to want to start by taking the back of our frame out and putting the glass on the table. Next, we're going to want to clean the surface of the glass as to allow paint to adhere to it. Next, we're going to want to clean our work surface up. Put down some paper to protect our work surface. Now we're going to mix a medium toned gray in our palette. I have mine covered in aluminum foil just to make cleanup easier. I can just throw it away at the end. We start by mixing black and white. This white did not have the tinting strength that I thought it would. It's not as strong as titanium white. It's just a Walmart acrylic paint. Now we're adding burnt umber to neutralize the gray tone down. As you can see, I keep adding white to this because the tinting strength of this white is pretty poor. And you can add as much as you want, just keep mixing it up. You're going to need a lot of paint for future layers. We're trying to cover the whole entire glass surface, and throughout this process, I found that even though it appears like it's covering on the one side, if you flip the glass over, you'll see that it doesn't cover as much. So that's why we need to do as many layers as possible. Just start by applying with a brush horizontally all the way across. Cover your surface. And later we're going to want to let it dry. And just like that, it's dry. Next we put on another layer, just go in the same direction. Try to fill up any crevices that might have formed during the first drying, because the paint will shrink a little bit. And just apply as liberally as you want. And don't be afraid to be messy. As long as you have something underneath protecting your work surface, you're fine. Just be messy. It's a pretty cut and dry, simple process we're doing here. And just like that, it's dry again. As you can see, I don't know if you can see on the camera. I couldn't really see on the camera, but in person I could see that there were streaks. And now we're going the opposite direction to fill in those streaks. So that way when it's flipped over, the whole surface is covered by paint. And we're dry again. Flip it over. This time it was completely covered. So now some paint might have got underneath your glass as you were working. So just use a glass scraper to scrape it right off. I always have old spaghetti jars to put my towels in when I'm done using them. You don't want to just wad them up and throw them in the trash. Unless you have a fireproof trash can, then you should be good, but I put them in glass jars. I just made a mistake here. I forgot to mention to cover the next work surface with alcohol, just like you did with the side that's painted. And that's just so the tape can adhere to the glass well. Now all we're doing is just covering the back of the glass with tape. You don't really have to do this part. It'll just keep the paint from scraping off in the future. It's just a protective layer. Doesn't really matter. The main point of this step is to decrease the sharpness of the glass by taping up the edges so we don't get cut. Which you shouldn't be getting cut if you're using it the way you should be using it, which is on a table and not holding it in your hand. If you're holding it in your hand, you're probably going to get cut. I'm not going to say that you definitely will get cut, but it's not exactly dull. It's still pretty sharp, at least on the corners. So you just want to cover this edge to edge. I'm going to leave in a little bit of space on the side so that I could put the tape that's going to wrap around it. Now I'm flipping it over and taping up those edges. Now you just want to do the other side. Oh, I had to ball and throw that one away. Okay, so we just tape the other side, just wrap it around. And at this point, we're going to be worrying about the corners. You want your tape to pretty much overstretch past where you're going to go. We're going to use box cutter. This is where you definitely should either have your parents help you with this or not work with a razor blade, work with the scissors. But I'm using the box cutters to cut the tape, the access tape. Now you're probably asking yourself, but Kevin, what do I do with that extra frame? Well, if you have some art with you, all you need to do is just put it in. And we're done. So now that we have a glass palette, we can oil paint. And when you're done with your oil paint, just let it dry right on your surface. And all you need is a glass scraper to scrape it right up. This is my palette from my next video, doing a Versailles palette, follow up to that underpainting video that I made a few weeks ago. All you do is scrape it up, get it all into a nice pile, get it clean. Look how clean it is. It gets nice and clean. Wipe up your scraper. Be careful. The scraper is a razor blade. And then all you need to do is either let that pile dry out and throw it in the trash, or just put it in a jar. You could probably use the leftover paint scrapings for crafts if you want. It doesn't matter. Or throw it away. So that's how you make a glass palette. It's pretty simple. Just paint the back of a piece of glass, tape it up. Make sure to tape up all the sharp edges so you can't cut yourself. I would also recommend, this is only for the purposes of being on a tabletop, do not hold this pallet. You will get cut, and that would not be a good thing. So also, it makes cleanup easier. All you have to do is just, when you're done, leave your paint sitting right on it, pick it up with a glass scraper, and that's it. Throw it in the trash and you're done. So yeah, that's how to make a glass pallet. Like and subscribe. See you next time.